grace comes to the soul that has an effect in proportion to its reception or the refracting thereof. Both Simon Peter and Judas Iscariot were at the Last Supper. Alas, grace in one case, although hugely generous, was not able to get through. In the case of Judas, we are told that after the sop, Satan entered into him. We are told also that he went out into the darkness, and it was night. In the visions of Anne Catherine Emmerich, we see that he made no thanksgiving, and she comments that this sin of no thanksgiving has a great malice. It's true not only for the supreme gift of the Lord's body himself in Holy Communion, but also in general for the attitude to the gifts of the giver, the daily bread, received flippantly without reference to its author, who in that daily bread is extending the gift of life for one more day. And therefore the correct attitude should be one of thanksgiving there too. Indeed, it is something that pervades the whole attitude of man. If man is not grateful, he will go into murmuring mode, already there in the desert, which brought the Israelites down and commented upon by St. Benedict. Murmuring. But then, specifically, with regard to what Judas had received, he had received major orders at the Last Supper, like the other 11, and could have become a great apostle. Now it does seem that he wasn't entirely bad. The Lord, when he encountered him, as seen there by Anne Catherine Emmerich, saw that he could go either way. Something went through his being as he encountered him for the first time, for he actually knew which of the ways he would, but grace was offered, and so it is that some who are ordained will actually leave what they have received. But we can also have the kiss of Judas. We need to be entirely at the Lord's beck and call when it comes to the things pertaining to his body. Talking to others or thinking of other things at that point is a form of betrayal of grace already. And to use liturgy for human purposes and to turn it into something theatric is not the correct dynamic to employ. At that point, it's intimacy that we need to seek and not to play to the gallery. How many graces will be lost in this Holy Week in the very sacramental realm itself? Simon Peter, with his impetuosity, was in love with the Lord and expressed it well. But he got nervous. Even a servant girl made him nervous. And once one starts, one carries on. That's how sin operates. I've started, I can't stop. But then the Lord just looked at him, that gaze of the Lord, and he remembered. In fact, the crow helped him to remember. But what did he do? He didn't despair like Judas. And the Lord himself did remedy the problem later in time asking 3 times, do you love me? And so love, the rapport, the relationship, re-establish the relationship as between human beings, so between the Lord and the soul. Love heals, and one can look again into the eyes. Mercy is always on side. And mercy was on side of Judas, but the devil pushed him into despair. That was the problem. And how many out there today think they'll never be forgiven when they could be? How many things can be healed even at the last moment when there is lucidity still there? How important it is to call the priest when there's still lucidity to make a good confession. What use is it to give huge amounts of care to the body in the last days of life and to neglect the bit that at that point really matters? Lord, thank you that you are mercy itself. I ask for pardon. Grant that we may be always able to look each other eye to eye and feel each other heart to heart. What is relationship that you want? And whatever our state, your mercy embraces and your regard still pierces with the deepest, tenderest love. Jesus, remember